before you start visualizing, the first thing to do is to bring in the data and clean it, because usually, okay, however, whatever precautions one may take, often there are some issues with the data, some editing problems or some mistyped data or whatever. Okay. And this is especially so if the data comes from a source that you don't control. Suppose if it is from a third party, then it is very possible that there are some issues. And even if there are no issues, it may not be in a format that is suitable for Tableau. So you have to do some juggling around to make, to convert it into a format that then Tableau can use. So what are the different normal common things that you find, and how do you handle those? Okay, so that's the topic for this module. So I'm going to use there is Superstore cleaning. Okay, so that's the file we're going to use. Okay, it's there in Canvas. So I hope you've downloaded the file. So open that one. All right. So that it has only one sheet, order sheet. So that order sheet is automatically placed in this area, and we have the data preview here. Okay, so we can even check how many observations there are. So you can okay, so there is 3054. So you can do a preview here, right, and that will tell you how many rows of data there are. So that's something that you need to look at, because when you do a visualization, and you have to do, whenever you do something like that, you need to cross check and make sure that everything has been used, because if there is a problem, then you have to go and check, see why there is a problem, and if there is an issue, then you have to take care of it. All right. So the first thing is, this is something that we've already discussed, and that is correcting or checking all these data types. Okay, so we can look at the preview screen. There are two ways in which you can preview the data. So this one is the table format. So it gives you the data itself, okay, a certain number of rows. Now if you click the icon right next to it, right, so this one, and that will give you a metadata view. So it will give you the name of the field and what type of field it is. Okay, we talked about different field types before. So the number sign is numeric, then A, B, C is text, and then we have a small little globe is geographic, and then a calendar is, this is dates and time, and so on, right. So if you want to change something, okay, like if you want order priority to be a number, and you can do that. Of course, for it to be a number, the original data has to be a number that has been coded as a label. Okay, usually it's the other way around that you'll do. Like if you have a number coded as a number, but really you don't want to do any computations, it's just a label, so then you will go and change it to a label ABC, right. And you can also change the name of the field. So you have the remote field name. So remote field name is the name of the field in the original data, okay, that we have connected to. And for our purposes, suppose if you don't like, I don't know, here all the names are pretty good, and suppose if some of these is not, you want it to be more descriptive, right. So you can go and double click, or you can press the F2 key and rename it. Okay. So here we have, of course, region is pretty good. So instead, if it was like just R. Somebody wanted to save some time typing, so they had just simply R, which is really region. And so you can rename the field name for our purposes to something more descriptive. Okay. And remember, the changes that we make in Tableau is good only within Tableau. It doesn't change the field names in the original data. Okay, so that's the first thing, renaming. All right. Next is grouping. Okay, so sometimes the data, people may abbreviate in different ways, right? So here the example given in the book is like you have A and M, and then A space the ampersand sign space M, then A, the word and M. So all of these, if you don't take care of it, each of these will be treated as a unique value, unique separate value, even though they all mean the same thing. Okay. So in that case, you can group them and give them just one name. And for that, you have to really go through each of the dimensions and each of the measures and check it out and see whether there are any problems. So, you take city. Now, cities, there are probably going to be many different cities, so it's kind of hard to really tell. So here you see there are 623 unknown cities. So we have 3,500, there are 473 marks here. So 473 unique city names, and then 623 unknown. So if you go and click that, you can see what those are. So like here are the names and ambiguous, because there are probably more than, the same name appears in different states. So Tableau doesn't know in which state to put that in. Okay. So maybe something has to be done or whatever. But here it is kind of hard to tell whether the city names are correctly typed in or not, because there are so many of them. And oftentimes you probably don't want to go into that granularity. So same with customer name. Customer segment, you bring that in. Okay. So how many customer segments are supposed to be, right? You need to have domain knowledge to be able to do this task. If you have no idea what this data stands for, then you wouldn't know whether these are okay, right? So you need to have domain knowledge. So here is where our number of records will be useful. So now that we have customer segment in, we can bring in number of records to text. That will tell you how many records are in each customer segment. Okay. Now, okay, this is supposed to be how many? That is supposed to be total of 3,054. All the 3,054 accounted for here. Okay, so if you want to total them, you don't need to take out your calculator. So you go to analysis, right? And then we have totals. And if subtotals are possible, then this will not be dimmed. You can select that. So there is only grand total here, right? So analysis, totals, to show total, and you see that. So all the observations are accounted for. So that's good. All right, so that's okay. Now order date, order ID. So I'm going to skip over to state and province. So we go state and province. All right. So now you see here there are a couple of problems. So there is a cal. So bring in number of records. So we have CAL in California. So it's very likely that this is actually California, but by mistake it has been coded as CAL, right? And here there is another one here. Massachusetts is misspelled, all right. And then there is NY. This is probably New York. So these should be combined, right? So you can, there are several ways in which we can accomplish this. Okay. So here you highlight, okay, and then you do group. So that's what you have, the second item in the Word document, grouping. So the purpose of grouping, this is not the only purpose of grouping. We will be looking at grouping later on. So grouping is a way of cleaning data. So when you have the same value being represented in different ways, then you club them all together. So you group them. So now automatically a new field is created, right? So the old field is still there. A new field gets created and it's given the name state or province group, and then a new name is created, Cal and California, right? Now you can go and rename this. Okay, you don't want Cal and California, kind of crazy name for a state or a province, right? So you do edit alias. So this is called alias. Okay, so you can just simply say California, right? And let's do the remaining. So these two should be combined, right? Group, and again we'll edit. Massachusetts is with 2 T's, right? I'm not very good with spelling. 2 T's. Okay, so that's the one. And New York. Okay, so we have New York here and New York here, right? And then right click, and there is there are other ways of doing this. Okay, right click is the easiest one. So right click and then you say group. So now again, let's go ahead and edit the alias and let's simply say New York. Okay, let's see whether we can change the name here. Okay, so just gently click. Okay, go ahead.
I have a quick question. I'm just getting ABC next to all of my
So you have ABC everywhere. So you need to put the number of records into text.
Okay, number of records
Into
I just put it in the box and it didn't get tested.
yeah. Did you get the numbers?
Yes.
Ah, okay, good. Okay, everybody? All right, so you can press F2, that will get you into the edit mode, or gently click, a long click will also do it for you. I'm not sure whether it will let me use the same name. So, it doesn't let me change it to state or province. So, let's see whether I can change that to original, and this to just simply, will it do that? Okay. So, I renamed the original one with the errors, right, as state and province original, and then the one that has been cleaned up as stated province. Okay. Now, we can do one more thing. So, we don't want the state and province original showing up and confusing the hell out of maybe some other people, not you. Okay. So, we can go ahead and hide it. Okay. You don't want that showing up. Now that you have cleaned it up, everything is fine now, right? And we can hide that original field. Now, here we don't know, we didn't check how many total, or whether all the records got listed here. So, we can insert totals, and let's have the totals showing up at the top, so we don't have to scroll down. Okay, and check grand total. So, 3054. So, all the records are counted for, and we have taken care of the problems. And the way we did that is using the group feature. Okay. Again, this is not unique to Tableau, by the way. So, these problems, whatever software platform you may use, these problems will arise. So, you have to deal with those, and it is very easy. Actually, we are going to look at Tableau prep, and that makes it even easier to handle these problems.